Hi, everybody. It's Tim Hinton, the Beast of the Marching Arts. How are you doing? Thank you so much for watching. I'm here with James Stevens from Music for All. James, how are you?
I am well, Tim. It is good to be here with you. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So, everybody that's watching this, we're here to talk about the Summer Symposium. You're like, well, I've heard all these great, really interesting conversations already, but we have one more for you because everybody want to remind you. Here we are. We're recording this on June 6th. It's not too late, everybody. You can still sign up and have this fantastic week. And listen, if you're watching this, you're probably at the point where you're like exhausted from your year. You're probably just finished the school year and you're thinking, I need some time off, whatever. But here's what I want to remind you. July's going to be here really soon, and you're going to have to be cranking back up, and you need to get ready. You need to get rejuvenated. What I call it, James, do you remember Bruce Dinkins, James?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
All right. Bruce Dinkins was such a great mentor to me. He was a wonderful band director, ended up in Texas at James Bowie, of course. But he used to talk about, he went to summer camp. He would go and work with students at a summer camp, and he called it getting his veggies. I always loved this. Like, he was like, he's getting his veggies. In other words, he's getting the good, healthy stuff he needs to be able to go back and be ready for his own band in the fall. And so, James, that's how I think about the Music for All Summer Symposium that's about to happen here at the end of June, going into July. It's a place to sort of get your veggies, to get revved up, inspired, ready to go.
Absolutely. Get your veggies, batteries recharged, whichever term floats your boat, kind of. But, we are so excited, Tim, because we had been on hiatus for 2 years. So to be back with the Summer Symposium after a 2-year break we're just absolutely thrilled. This was the premier, the camp, this experience is the premier program of BOA, of Music for All, starting in 1976, really a place for directors back then to learn how to teach, this contemporary marching band with a color guard and flags and rifles and all this stuff, where directors were like, how do I do this? How do I teach it? How do I get my kids excited about it? And we're going strong 47 years, whatever it is later. We are so happy to be, I think, the most intensive, kind of nonstop experience. We call it America's Camp because every student, a high school student particularly, this is for you. If you love band, if you love marching band, join us. And as you said, Tim, it is not too late. In fact, probably shouldn't tell you this. If you walked up the day of registration on, June 27th, that Monday, we would accept you with open arms because, again, this is America's Camp. We look at it as I believe it to be the leading summer camp for high school band students in the nation.
It's very, very cool. And by the way, there's also, in the last conversation I had, they were talking about some scholarships that are available, like particularly for like percussionists, that kind of thing, that they're still there, everybody. There are probably still some, I can't say for sure because I'm not in them, but I think there's probably still some spots so you can even get some assistance to go. If you're watching this right now live, everybody, thank you for watching. Chime in, tell us where you're watching, tell us if you're going to be going. So, James, it's June 27th through July 2nd with the Leadership Weekend, the weekend before, the 25 through 27. And I love that people can still decide to go because band directors, instructors, your head is starting to clear. You've had a couple days at home, and now you're thinking like maybe a week with like really inspiring people with some great ideas is what I need right now.
Well, right. We have a Directors Academy, obviously, which is one of the most, intensive professional development experiences for band directors. But we have student divisions as well. We have, the marching band division, color guard division, marching percussion. We actually have a music production boot camp. Happy to talk about all of these. And of course, one that has been with us for over 4 decades, student leaders and band directors from across the nation look to the Bands of America Drum Major Institute as a place to train drum majors and really get them with their heads screwed on straight, ready for a fantastic fall, because there's a lot that we ask of our drum majors. We know that for sure.
Absolutely. So listen, everybody, I have had the great privilege. I want to thank everybody from Music for All for giving me the opportunity to have a bunch of conversations about this. And I have to tell you, James, I learned a lot of things I did not know. I did not know about this music production camp that's very cool. I had a conversation with guard people, both an adult instructor and a student, who just talked about how it revolutionized how they thought about themselves in the activity. It was really, really interesting. By the way, everybody, if you go to Marching Arts Education and click on BOA in the top menu bar, you'll see the symposium series. You'll see all these conversations, podcasts, these live conversations we've been having about all these different parts of it, so that you can sort of, whatever part of it that you're interested in, there's something about that there. But James, it's like you guys talk about being a life-changing experience, but like these conversations, one after the other, people have said that. Like, I went back to my band a different person.
Absolutely. I mean, I am fortunate enough, blessed to work with the company. But for years, Tim, I sent my students to the Summer Symposium. I was a faculty member back in the day. I cannot speak highly enough about the experience. The faculty, it's enriching. If you're a collegiate future music educator, I encourage you to look at it and check it out, because you could find your next job through just, rubbing shoulders with some of the folks. I know it sounds weird to say this, but some of the most really biggest takeaways come in the form of just being social, being around some of the best people on the planet. And our lunches every afternoon, all the directors of the Directors Academy and all the faculty come together. And it is such a great social experience to just, where are you from? Where do you teach? And just, share ideas, let alone the curriculum that is designed and programmed is top notch.
Yeah, and it's some of the conversations I've been having, as I'm mentioning everybody, is they talk about like, well, I was able to sit down and have a conversation with Greg Bim. Okay, like the legend from Marion Catholic, like you can pick his brain. And like, so I had a conversation, everybody, check this out. Nola Jones, Greg Bim, Jeff Young, Beth Fabrizio, and Susan Smith. Like, these are all ringers in the activity. And we had a conversation about what it's like to be there. So everybody check out that podcast at the Marching Roundtable. Like I said, you can find it just clicking on the BOA tab. But James, that's what they all talk about.
I'm glad you brought that up, Tim, because I mean, there is nothing, you can't put a price tag on it. I feel like when you're sitting down, this is a history or experience that I just remember when I was a high school student, and I'm a product of Bands of America. I went in Ohio to Bellbrook High School back in the day, and I remember my directors, Marty Spitzer and Barb Seiler. They would go to the Summer Symposium. They went to the Directors Academy. They came back and they would explain. I didn't completely comprehend it at the time, but they were getting to sit down with people like Alfred Watkins and Greg Bim, as you mentioned, to talk through their fall show a little bit. Like, here's the music, here's some of the visual ideas that we have, and to get in those, we call them our director lounges, to have open office hours with them, and to walk away with 1 or 2, 3 little nuggets that are just so inspiring to take your show to the next level. I mean, just aside from the fact that, I have to mention just getting a chance to interact with these great people and call them friends because of those relationships that you build. I mean, it's just, I can't say enough.
I love that you just said relationships that you built, because I have to tell you, James, every year that I'm in this activity, and everybody, I've been doing this a really long time. Okay, so this is like not my first year. So anyway, every year I realize that that networking, those relationships, those connections that you build with everybody, this is like the most important thing. And you're getting to know those people. They get to know who you are. You're building your own personal brand. You're helping your own students in your own program or whatever it is that you do by interacting with these people. And it's really inspiring. And James, I always say, in the work I do at Marching Arts Education, we try to share information with people. I always say one really good idea can revolutionize everything. I mean, how many times, James, have you talked to somebody about their fall show, and then somebody, maybe you, somebody else goes, if you did, have you thought about this? And it's like suddenly it all makes sense. You figured out the problems, you have a new direction or whatever. And you're around people that can do that all day.
Yeah, it's one of the not to dive off the topic of Summer Symposium here, but it's one of the things I love the most about Bands of America Fall Championship season, Tim, is that we have those we have those Sunday clinics that happen the day after our regionals, and that I have people, what you just described. I have directors, I've heard them say to me, they have the season in two parts: prior to the Sunday clinic, after the Sunday clinic, because they sit down with those judges the day after the show, and one or two little bits of information that just open your eyes or your mind to go, wow, that's a brilliant idea. I hadn't thought of it. And you're running back home to your program and you're just making a change or improvement from that feedback is incredible. I do want to say I would be remiss in speaking about the Summer Symposium to not really emphasize to anyone out there that this is really first and foremost a student leadership camp where music, I don't want to say is secondary, but the leadership piece of it is really the primary focus. As you mentioned, we start with a leadership weekend on the Saturday and Sunday, the 25th and 26th, which is really a one-of-a-kind, really interactive student leadership program. But even throughout the week, regardless of what division, what your specialty you've chosen in the student divisions, there are week-long rotating large groups, small group, and engaging sessions with Fran Kick, who is our leadership guru, brings together some of the most incredible faculty. I mean, you bring in, I know a lot of programs bring in some very talented, motivated, motivational type leadership people in front of their kids. But here's a place where you have a full palette of different personality types, and I just have to tell you, it is incredible. As you mentioned, it's eating the vegetables and getting batteries charged and in gear for the upcoming school year, the upcoming academic year, and particularly the 2022 marching season. So leadership, brother, I have to say that's where it's at.
No, it's really cool. And again, there are so many stories of students who have gone through all this leadership training and like showed back up at their band different, knowing things to do, making a difference, making a shift in the culture back where they came from. That is like, that can't be overstated. Like, James, that's what you need. I mean, your student leaders are the ones that are going to really make that happen, really lead your culture where you want it to go. If you're watching this live, everybody, thank you so much. Put in the comments where you're watching from. Hey, Kyle Class, thanks for watching from Florence, Kentucky. He says, BOA Grand National Class A Championship State. And you're right. We cannot deny that. So thank you for watching. Let us know if you have any questions. James, we have to mention also there's this small sort of not very important group called Carolina Crown that's going to be around. Like, come on, everybody. They're basically around, right?
Yeah, they are our drum corps in residence, absolutely. So if you are a part of the marching percussion division students or the marching band division, not only do you get a chance to meet with, interact, be led by in terms of picking up on some very, very specialized instruction, you also get to perform with them at the end of the week. So, we have an evening concert, a special, just the variety is crazy every single night. And on the end of the week, on that Friday night, Tim, it culminates with the drum corps show, the DCI Indiana drum corps show. And Carolina Crown, of course, one of the drum corps that will be performing there. But the marching band division of the Summer Symposium, the students, they will get to perform with the Carolina Crown in special exhibition. And the percussion, marching percussion division also gets to perform with the Carolina Crown battery. It is, it truly is.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing stuff, everybody. So anyway, in case you haven't watched from the beginning, we want to remind you that it is not too late to be a part of the Summer Symposium. It starts on June 27th through July 2nd. There are some scholarships available for certain populations and different kinds of people. So you need to just go to camp.musicforall.org and check it out and see. And as I said, James, at the beginning, I feel like now that directors are sort of coming down off their year, they're having a minute to collect themselves. I think it might be that they realize, I could use a week of really getting pepped up, like we've all been kind of through it. And so, we all kind of feel like I could use a little pepping up. You know what I love when I had the conversation with Nola and Greg and Beth and Jeff, and Susan Smith said, well, a lot of people call this Midwest in shorts. And I thought that was so brilliant because it's like the idea of those connections in Midwest, but I'm wearing shorts. I like that.
I know I had forgotten that, and I've heard that. Again, it's been 2 years we've been off. So, and Susan Smith brings up a great point. It's Midwest in shorts. It's a little bit more laid back, a little bit more comfortable, and the social aspect feels laid back again, just because we're in summer mode. Susan Smith made me think of another thing because she has been around our organization for a long time. She is a former swag, and I don't know if you know what our swag team is, but those are the volunteer, camp counselors, if you will, that are engaged in really making sure the camp experience from top to bottom feels authentic in terms of just the more you give, the more you get, and everything from that point to just making sure that everybody's being taken care of in terms of being fed and safety and all those kinds of things. So when you just think about the number of people, our swag team, the volunteers there, our nurses that come in who are former swags and campers from years gone by, and our exceptional faculty for the students and the directors. Wanted to mention the swag team, Tim, to basically say, directors, if you're coming either by yourself or bringing students, you do not have to think about yourself as a chaperone, because that is taken care of by our swag team. So encourage your students, encourage your student leaders, encourage anyone who's just interested in continuing to play or spin or dance this summer. I don't know if you can tell I'm excited. I am thrilled that we are back.
That may be my favorite part that you said is imagine that not only can I bring all my students to have this great experience and then come back to my program, like really with some great helpful information and ready to go, but I don't have to babysit them at all. Like I get to do my own thing. I get to go, hang out with Greg Bim and Michael Rayford and Nola and learn stuff. And I love that. It's just, you're taking care of it for me. And I got to tell you, if I'm a band director and I need a break, like that sounds really good.
Absolutely. And one other student thing that you touched on in terms of just what when you walk away at the end of the week, the experience, what were your takeaways? What did you learn? I can't tell you the amount of parents, because we take this seriously, Tim. We take this really seriously. We do some surveys and ask important questions afterwards to just really try to understand what went well and where we have room for improvement. The number of parents who basically say, "What have you done with my child? My son or daughter has come back a new person." Directors saying that too. It's again, it's the leadership through line that is extremely important. And I just got to say, Music for All, I really think that we have a focus, an intentional focus, that it is about being civic minded. It's about being great citizens and stewards of your program and your communities. And those that I got to say, Tim, those that come to Summer Symposium are not just the Grand National finalists and semifinalists. Those students and those directors certainly show up, but this is America's camp, and the number of people that attend our camp representing smaller programs, rural schools, urban core urban environments. That's what really makes this especially unique, is to be a part of something that is bigger than you, and you're learning from and meeting and collaborating with people from different areas of the country, and in many cases it's developing lifelong friendships and making these friendships that are withstanding just a week, long term.
And the other thing too is like we're throwing out big names, everybody, by the way, as if we conjured her out of the ether. Susan Smith just commented and said hello, that she's actually watching. Susan, you're awesome. I can't believe you're watching this right now. But anyway, she says can't wait for camp. You guys are awesome. So thank you, Susan, for those nice comments. But
she could
James,
tell that we were talking about her.
but here's the thing, everybody, and this is what I learned doing the podcast. We've been doing Marching Roundtable podcast now for what, almost 12 years, I guess. I don't know. I lost count. But here's the thing, James, and you know this too. You meet one of these really successful, great, important, prestigious, smart, talented people at the very top of the activity, and they're just like the nicest, most generous, down-to-earth person. Like, they'll sit down and talk to you, and they don't think that they're that big a deal. Like, they know that they had a lot to learn, and I love getting to talk to them because it makes me feel good about everybody in our, well, really everybody, but especially people in our activity. You know, like they're very generous and kind and nice, and Susan's one of those people.
Susan's one of those people. Her husband is one of those people. I love, especially the composer types, because, you know, I laugh because, you know, students sometimes don't always recognize the composers are often living. So, you know, to have Robert W. Smith and just be able to go up and talk to him, and Richard Saucedo, folks of that ilk that are part of our faculty, they are so approachable, so real, and they are as probably fired up and thrilled to be back at camp as any of the students that are returning are, because it's kind of a, I don't know, is it weird to say it's almost like a family reunion? Some of my favorite people to be around will be at Ball State University the last week of June, and I can't wait, brother. I'm looking forward to it.
No, a lot of people have said that, have put it that very same way. They can't wait to see all their friends, and I think we all feel like that whenever we get back together now after a little bit of time off. And you mentioned, you know, also that it's not just big fancy schools. Like, everybody is welcome and they get something out of it. And I got to tell you, if I'm a director, I was a director of a very small band, and I know that, like, my student leaders were especially critically important to the success of my program. And so getting those students here to have this experience can make a even bigger difference for those programs almost than anybody else. We need to start wrapping this up. Everybody, we're talking about the Music for All Summer Symposium. It's back this year, June 27th through July 2nd. If you didn't watch from the very beginning, you can rewind and watch it. But I also want to remind you that James said it is not too late. You can still show up. You can actually even sort of show up that day, and they will be happy to see you, because there's a spot for you, and it's happening. We're all excited. James, what do you want to say in closing as we're getting ready for this event that's coming up really soon?
That I just am extremely appreciative that you're taking the time, Tim, to talk about it today. Sure. I can't thank enough the Yamaha Corporation of America. Our summer symposium is presented by Yamaha, and a number of their most well-recognized artists and educators are part of our faculty. We couldn't do this without Yamaha, and the faculty is second to none, and the students really make it what it is. So every student who attends is part of, like I said, something that is bigger than oneself, and those lessons that they learn, I guarantee will your home program and your home community will reap the benefit of the 2022 Music for All Summer Symposium presented by Yamaha. And again, June 25th and 26th is the leadership weekend, and then the full week of fun and games starts on Monday, the 27th. So we're back, baby, at Ball State University. I feel like Cam Stacey when I say we're back, baby, because I hear her say that all the time.
Yeah, but listen, everybody go to camp.musicforall.org and you can learn more about it. It's not too late. If now that the school system's over, the school year's over, you can kind of catch your breath. And you're like, maybe I could really use that week of veggies that we're talking about to really get me ready. I think it's really awesome. And by the way, as I mentioned, go to Marching Arts Education, click on the BOA link. You'll find the symposium series. It's a whole bunch of podcasts and these live conversations. They're all there. So if you're wondering about the percussion division, you're wondering what goes in with the color guard, what about that music production, all the different parts of it are the conversations about them. And so you can find out what the part you're interested in. And of course, James, I'm sure they can reach out to you or to me or to anybody else if they want to ask some questions if they're thinking about it.
Absolutely, absolutely. And Jeff Young, our director of camps, when I get off here with you, back to work to prepare for camp, and we hope that we're going to see you there.
Well, thank you for talking to me. This was fun. Everybody, I hope that you check it out and that you show up there. And everybody that's going to get there, lucky people, they're going to have such a wonderful time. James, thanks for talking to me.
Absolutely. Thank you. Pleasure's mine.